Hi, for this next activity, we're going to be talking about some different ways that you can use text in your designs. So I'm going to show you two different ways, and we're going to end up turning in two different documents at the end of this activity. So I am going to give you some images, but if you choose to use some images of your own, feel free. I'm just going to give you some to start with. If you want to follow along with those, you can. Otherwise, you can go to one of the sites and helpful sites and find a couple images for yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over here to Photoshop and I'm going to go to Open, and I am going to pull up a picture of this lizard that I have and hit Open. Okay, so there's a couple different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you a couple different ways. I'm going to show you another way first how to do this, but I just want you to watch. Don't follow along, just kind of watch what I'm doing so you can kind of see how it affects everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my text tool, and it doesn't really matter the color of my text. If you want to work in black and white, if it makes it feel better, feel free. You can click right here and you have black and white. Remember, if you switch this, you can go back and forth. So I have it on black, and I'm going to type in the word jungle in all caps. Oops, jungle. And I'm going to go ahead and lock it in, but then I'm going to make it a lot bigger. I want it to fit kind of across my page. I do want this to be in a fatter font, so the font that I have is pretty fat, so I'm going to go ahead and use the font that I have, but you can choose any font when we get to you doing it as well. Um, that kind of works for that. Okay. Keep going just a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to put this right in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stretch it really nice and tall so you guys can see what I'm doing with it. Okay. And so put the word jungle right here. Let's go even taller. Nice. Okay. So you can do it this way. Now, this way can be slightly destructive. Um, well, one of the ways doing it this way will be destructive. So if I select this and I come over here with my selection tool, and I'm just going to use my magic wand because it's nice and simple, and I can click on each of the letters, press and hold the shift button and click on each of the letters so they're selected. And then I'm going to come over here to my background copy, and I'm going to drag it down and make a copy of it. And I'm going to close my background. I'm now going to close the word jungle and go up to select an inverse, and I'm going to hit delete. Now you can see that I took that image, deselect it. You can see I took that image and I typed in here. Now, what is the problem with this? Maybe I spelled the word jungle wrong and I needed to change it. Then I would have to completely start over and do all of those steps again. Or I don't like exactly the way my lizard is fitting into the word. So again, I would have to start over and try and figure out how that lizard's going to fall in there. Okay. So this is not really great. Again, it's destructive, so it's not the best way of doing it. Okay. So then you say, well, Niehaus, but what if you go back and I'm going to go all the way back to the step where I selected all the letters. What if you take this concept and you use a mask that would allow you to be able to move that lizard around in there? Okay, so let's try that. So I have my word jungle selected. I'm going to close actual jungle beyond the image itself, and I'm going to create a mask. Okay, that's great. If I unlock my mask right here with this little chain, then yes, it's true. I could move my mask around to get it onto that lizard in a way that I think is better. So maybe if I want to see his eye and a little bit of his tongue or whatever, I could do that. But what is the problem? Again, if I misspelled the word jungle, I would have to go back a step and recreate that mask. Not as much work as the last way, but still not something I necessarily want to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and you're now going to start working with me. I'm going to go all the way back to just adding in that image. So there's my image. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to do this without destroying either the image or the font itself. Okay, So the first thing I want you to do is you're going to have your background right here, drag it down to the square with the plus sign and make a copy of it. And go ahead and close that background one. Boom. Now it's closed. Okay. So you're going to come up here. And again, you're going to, grab your text tool. You're going to type the word jungle in all caps. Whoops. Helps if I do all caps. The word jungle. And I'm going to lock it in. Okay, I'm going to use my character panel right over here. And I'm going to increase my font size to make it really nice and big. Actually, first, you might want to go up here and change your font so that you have something nice and thick. Actually, I'll change mine to Franklin Gothic Heavy because that's even thicker. So I'm going to change it to that font, and then I'm going to make my font size big enough that it kind of fits from side to side. And if you use your move tool and you can kind of move it around, get it to where you want it. If you need to pause the video for a second, feel free to pause the video for a second. And mine is looking a whole lot bigger because my height of my font I still had from showing you the example. So I'm gonna go to 500 to see if that works. Whoops, 500. Yeah, that's pretty good. That fits pretty close to the edges. Go down here to the height of my letter and I'm gonna push it up. I go all the way close to the top, so maybe 350. And I can pull it down. Yep, that's pretty big right there. Okay. And you can play with any of these other things. Like I'm going to take my width back down a little bit. I'm going to put my letters a little bit closer together. And again, then I'm just going to increase the size of my font. There we go. Nice and big. And you can play with it until you get it a way that you like it, okay? This is your project, so get it the way you like it. Now, once we have this done, we don't have to select anything. We don't have to delete anything. We don't have to create a new mask. We're going to create actually what's called a clipping mask. And by doing this, we will then still have the ability to change both of these things. So by taking my cursor, and you can see my cursor's right here on jungle, and it looks like a little pointed finger, I'm going to press and hold either Option on a Mac or Alt on your PC. And I'm going to drag my cursor down and to go between those two lines. See, it changes from a finger to a little square with an arrow, and I can click on it. And the reason I'm not seeing anything. Oh, I know why I'm not seeing anything. Hold on, let me go back a step. Control Z, go back. We have to put the word jungle on the bottom. That was what it was. So pull jungle down, have background copy on top. You're then going to press Alt or Option and go in between the two, click on it. And why is this not working? There it goes. Okay, just didn't like me. Sometimes Adobe does that. So you're going to move your cursor down till you get it to the square and then click it. And then you should have this little arrow right here. And this means you have a clipping mask. Okay, so this allows you to grab your text tool if you wanted to change the E to, you misspelled it and it was supposed to be two L's or whatever, however you want to change it. Maybe you want to change the word altogether to lizard now, okay, whatever you want to change it to. You can also click on this background copy and grab your move tool, and you can move him around a little bit. You can Command or Control T, and you could size it up if you wanted to make him fit better. However you need to do it to get it to the way you want it to look. You can do this also with shapes. It doesn't have to be done with text. You could do it with shapes or different things like that as well. It just helps you be able to put those in there. Okay, you're now going to save this and turn it in. So normally I would tell you to do File and Save As, and it's going to save it as a PSD. You're probably not going to ever work with this again. You're welcome to do that if you want to. I'm more worried about just having a JPEG to show me what you did. So you can come over here and you can do right here. to flatten image. Discard hidden. Yep, it's okay. And then go to File, Save As. Make sure you change this to JPEG. And if you want to name it your last name, so I know who you are, or your last name, and this is activity 3, you can do that. And then hit save and save it to wherever you want. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't need to save this right now. Okay, so that's one thing you can do with text. Another nice little trick that you can do with text, what we're going to do is we're going to go to File and New, and we're going to go ahead and open up Print, and we'll do legal, but we'll turn it sideways. Okay, so 14 by 8.5 by 300, and hit Create, and it's going to give you this nice blank document. Then we're going to go to File and Open, and we're going to go ahead and open up. We'll do these leaves that I gave you. Control A, Control C. Sorry, unless you're on a Mac, and it's Command A, Command C. Go back to the new document we just made, and Command or Control V. Then Command or Control T to size it. I'll just make it bigger. Make it fill up your page. There we go. And I'm going to move this up a little bit. It's okay that it's bigger than the paper. Make sure it fills the paper and hit the check mark. Okay, so now we have this nice leaf background. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to type welcome. And hit my little check mark up here. My letters are now set. I can play with them, change them however I want. I'm going to go ahead and leave them in this thicker font just so you can see it on mine. If you don't like it, then you can change it back to whatever you want, but I'm going to change this to 100. Boop, boop. And I'll just kind of keep them tall and thin like I had earlier. Now I'm going to also make them a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to have welcome right here. Now to color it, if you can click right here in your character panel to change the color. You can also change your foreground color over here. Either way works. I'm going to click my color right here in my character panel, and I'm going to pick a color out of my image. So whenever I'm up here, you can see my cursor is like a little circle. If I come over into the actual image itself, it changes to an eyedropper, and then I can come inside of this leaf and be able to pick a color. Okay, so that's a way you could pick the color based on the image that you're using. Only problem is this image is all green. So I'm going to try and find like a little bit of a rusty red just to use. You can use whatever color feels good to you. So I'm going to use kind of this rusty red so it pops out a little bit more, and I'm going to hit OK. Now, what I can do is kind of move this around to where I want it. We're going to play with these leaves, and we're going to have the leaves hide part of this. So it works really, really well. Okay, so what you can do is you can create, I'm going to copy my layer 1, and I'm going to pull it up to the top. I know that this leaf is going to hide part of my text, so I can grab my quick selection tool. You can use any of the selection tools that you've come to like and want to work with. And I'm just going to kind of select it over this leaf. Now, again, this is a whole lot of green, so it's going to pick the stuff around it. Remember, you use Alt or Option to take away. You can also come up here to the top and do the minus, or you use Shift to add to it sometimes. We're right now on the +1. If you're using this one right here, you would just push the new selection. You would just use the Shift button. Okay, so now I'm on this one. I want this leaf to cover my welcome word, so I'm have that layer selected, and I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to create a mask. Okay, so now I can kind of see where that falls along there. And if I wanted to, I mean, I could even have this leaf over here. If I wanted to reposition my word welcome so that the leaf kind of comes through the word welcome, see, where is it actually? Like right here, it would kind of pop through. I could do that. And then what I would do is, again, I would just go back to this one, this layer one copy, and I would kind of select this leaf right through here. You'll see the top of my W still sticking out a little bit, and that's completely okay. But I want it to come through this W right here. So I'm going to press my Alt and get rid of it on that W. There we go. Okay. So now when I come over to my mask over here, I want to get my white paintbrush. So again, here's my white. I can flip the colors on my paintbrush. My paintbrush is itty bitty, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I can paint over just that part of the W. So now it's going to look like it's kind of popping from in between the little top parts of the W and kind of just like hiding in there. So you can kind of weave these in between the letters, or you can just have them kind of cover the entire letter. So you can do that all through this top mask. And again, if I decided I didn't like it, I can always close it or delete that layer. So what I want you to do is go ahead and I want you to type in and work with "Welcome to the Jungle." So do each one individually. They don't have to be in a line. If you want them in a line straight across, you can. Maybe I'll come up here and I'll do 2. And I'll put it down here, and you'll see that I forgot to change my color back, so you can see my color is now white again. So I can simply click on the white box in the text panel. Boop, there. And now it's the same color. And maybe, you know, I want it peaking right here. So again, I would just have to pull that text behind that top copy. Make sure you click on the mask so you have the little picture frame around the mask, and then you can use your white, or actually, sorry, skipped a step. I'd have to come back in here, and I want this leaf to go over the T. I'd use my white paint and paint over it. Okay. So welcome to the jungle. And then once you're done with it and you have all the words on here, I want you to, again, you don't need to save it as a PSD this time, simply because I don't think this is something you're going to go back and play with later. Maybe you will, maybe you want to save it that way. But whenever you're done and you make that decision, then you'll go back, save it a second time, do flatten image, and go to File, Save As, and make sure you change it to a JPEG. And then you're going to turn in both of those files. So I want to be able to see your lizard word and your welcome to the jungle in the activity for this week. If you have any questions, please let me know and we will get them answered for you.